how we do our space impact.
Look him in the eye. No, look him in the eye. Look him in the eye.
So how do you think we changed the drug issue in South Africa?
Not an issue.
What?
That's great.
Yes, sir. What is poppin' Space Academy? It's your boy Lowk in the building. Yes, again, you know what I'm saying? And today I got a very special guest, you know what I'm saying? But he's not alone. He came through with his cousin. Family vibes in the building today, you know what I'm saying? We got Roho in the building. Make some noise. Yes, sir. And of course, you know, he's here with the cousin. Who do we have next to Roho?
I'm Kanye.
Kanye.
Yes.
Okay, Kanye, what do you do?
I am a researcher and I am also an academic. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Roho, what do you do?
I'm a musician and part-time rock star.
Part-time rock star. Why not full-time? I thought we in this full-time.
No, part-time rock star. Yeah.
Part-time rock star.
Yeah.
Okay. Welcome to the Space Academy, guys. You know what I'm saying? Thank you so much for pulling up.
Thank you for having me. Thank you
Yes.
for having us.
Definitely. So let's jump right in, you know what I'm saying? So I'm Lowk, you know what I'm saying? I'm your host with the most, you know what I'm saying? So I want to know, let's dive right into who Roho is. First of all, let's break down the name.
Yeah.
Where did that come from? How did you come up with that?
Roho came in high school. I think I was in 10th grade, and I was responsible for my school's journal, term journal. So we had like a committee of like just school kids who were like busy with the school magazine.
Yeah.
And I had like the gossip column, but I didn't want to use my name for it because it was like
I see,
too
yeah.
spicy and people were like, come.
Oh, you knew who was cheating on who?
Yeah, no, I had
who's
all the
stealing
tea.
exam papers, all of that.
So, a friend of mine was like translating words in Swahili, and she came across spirit, which translates to Roho in Swahili, and she was like, "Oh shit, this is cool." I was like, "Yeah, I actually fuck with Roho." So I was like Roho for like a term or two, but then I got away from Roho for a bit, and then I later on like adopted the name again as I started to make music. So it's I think it's cool. Like it slides like really nice. Roho. So also Swahili is like a very interesting language.
Definitely,
so,
yeah.
Yeah.
Would you say that it kind of translates the type of artist you are since you adopted the name? You know what I'm saying?
I think so. I think like me adopting the name also came from a place of feeling like I can relate to just like spirituality and me being like a spiritual being. So I wanted a stage name that ties really well to who I am also as a person, and I think Roho has become me even in full. Like my full form feels like I'm Roho, and I'm not like, it's not a thing I'm trying to be or anything. It's
it
like
is
in
you.
me. It is me. Yeah. So I think it's cool how it came actually. Yeah.
No, I feel you. And we have Kanye, nah? How did you come up with Kanye?
Well, I'd just like to thank my mom and my dad.
yeah.
But yeah, in full, it's Kanye Sile. So it just basically means light. So I try to bring out light.
You try to be the light in the room. Yeah. No,
she is a light in every room actually.
Period.
That's why she's here with me.
Do you guys rock together most of the time?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we just be hanging. Like, this is my best friend, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's everywhere with me.
Nah, I feel you. Okay. And before we go into the music now, I want to see what else you're into, you know, other things, and then we'll fully go into the whole music journey.
Yeah.
So from looking at your IG, I would say that, you know, you'll be piecing pieces together pretty nicely, you know. I feel like you do care about not care about as in like, you know what I'm saying, but like you want to control how you look, especially when you're out there on stage or
definitely.
all of that. So does fashion play any role in your life?
Definitely. I spent like the past 2 years around like stylists and just like wardrobe stylists and fashion designers.
Yeah.
And I think before moving to Joburg, I wasn't really that much into fashion or couldn't care less about like how I put together an outfit. And then I met like people who would really tell stories through clothing. And I think because I'm also such a shy person, I like to speak through outfits.
Okay.
Especially on stage. So I do like to curate myself, and just like I think dressing up is always such a fun thing for me to do now, because it also feels like an extension of my personality, like how I show up on stage and the kind of clothes that I wear, the things that I'm into, and I like to play with clothes a lot. Like I be experimenting a lot with clothes. So yeah, I think fashion is like a really big part of me as a person, but it's also just like a recently something I found recently also, because I wasn't really into clothing and like
that.
So, yeah.
And do you have any favorite fashion brands, local, international?
I've been looking. Xavier has a collab with this brand. It's called Asa Sedan. I could be butchering it up.
Okay, yeah.
But like, yeah, they have some really dope clothes. I've been looking at that. Yeah, I think that's the only local brand I can think of now that I'm really eyeing. They got really dope clothes.
I feel you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you, Kanye, what's your aesthetic? How do you do things?
My aesthetic? Yeah. I don't necessarily have an aesthetic, but I try to be as pretty and as smart as possible. Like, yeah, that's like the dream. But I wouldn't say I have an aesthetic. If something looks cute and pink, then
that's what you go for.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah.
And now in your career, do you guys work together besides chilling?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh no, we don't work together.
No, like, not at all.
Yeah, no, we just like, it's just a friendship. I think like, I don't move with like a lot of people. I also don't know a lot of people personally.
Yeah.
So she's known me for like, I think 10 years now.
Okay.
So we just be chilling, vibing, yeah.
Vibing out.
Just vibing out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nah, I feel you. And I also peeped on your threads, right? You had tweeted that the joy of disposable cameras, right?
Yeah.
I wanted some insight on that. Is that a reference to photography? Are you into that?
I'm trying. I'm trying to like pursue photography.
Oh, you try to? Okay, that's dope. Why are you laughing? Is this
like
dope?
I feel like Lowk, I just have an obsession for images and just like, I'm such a visual person. Before I am a musician, I think I see things first. And like I grew up in the age of Tumblr and like Pinterest and Instagram. So like I'm bound to fuck with pictures, you know?
No, for sure.
And yeah, just like disposable cameras make it fun. They make photography fun. Even just like waiting for film and like the process of developing film and not knowing what like might come out of there.
I like that. That's pretty interesting. You know what I'm saying? Because you capture a moment and you're not sure how it's gonna come out.
And I'm into like nostalgic shit like that. Like I really want to tap into like photography and just capturing moments. Yeah. I think I might get like, I don't have a disposable camera. But I might cop one soon.
You might go into that. And
yeah, I might.
Yeah. No, that's dope. That's dope. Okay. So let's jump into the whole music journey now.
Yeah.
So run me back where it all started. How, what made you say, yeah, I'm going to do this?
Yeah. My first ever memory of like a musical performance was actually at a church.
Okay.
With like, with my nanny who took me to a church one day.
Yeah.
And she was performing that day. And I hadn't seen her in that light. And I think that must have been the first time I fell in love with performance as well. Because then prior to that, I don't remember actually liking music or even just like having the patience, because I was a kid. I was probably like 5, you know. So besides like nursery rhymes and just like what I knew at school, I wasn't listening to music. And I think that was like my first memory of like sound in a form that I could digest as music.
Yeah.
And I think since then I also grew up like my dad really fucked music heavy. So I think I find I get like a lot of my musical genes from him, because he used to like play music, his vinyls and shit. And my mom as well is such a musical person. She sang around the house all the time. So I grew up listening to other people's music, and just like discovering music was always such a fun thing for me to do as a kid. But I never thought of myself as a musician. And I never saw it for myself. Then I think there was like a music competition that ran on TV that I saw. And I just became fascinated with the idea of like somebody my age being able to go on a stage and sing. And I thought, oh shit, I can do that too. And I think that's when I started like practicing melodies and just like going with my nanny to church to sing with her as well. And singing the records that my mom played in the house. And she got me like my first CD was like my first ever CD was an Usher CD, and I was like, I think I was like 10 or something. And every year since then, every birthday present was something like musical related, like a piano, a guitar, a record player. So I think shout out to my mom, because she really pushed this idea of like, you know, music in me, but I also didn't feel comfortable enough to pursue it or to even become a musician. Then I think in high school you discover like a lot of yourself through music. Whereas prior I was just listening to music because it sounded good, but now I'm like relating to the emotions that these people are saying. And you start to like, you're going through puberty and you have your favorite artists, you have your favorite songs, and this is like around the time of like Jaden Smith and like Willow.
Oh, the cool tapes era. I feel you.
So I'm feeling like, oh shit, I could actually do this too. And I'm so inspired by everyone who's like making music, who's in my demographic. You know? So yeah, I would like sing here and there for my friends, but I was still super shy. And I think after high school, after matric is when I started to like really pursue music and recorded my first song, I think the day after my last exam.
Oh, you said same time. Straight in the studio, straight in the booth.
I had like a friend of mine got me a microphone, so I had like a young studio set up in my bedroom, and I started like discovering and playing with like sound in myself and just recording myself and hearing myself. And putting music out on SoundCloud, and and then
from there it all escalated. Okay. And now you, Kanye, as someone seeing this whole transition into someone becoming an artist, were you supportive? Did you feel like, you know, you could actually do this? Or
I think I was supportive. I'd like to think I was supportive. Because I remember the first time he told me he could sing, and he has music on SoundCloud. I was like,
you're like, I bet,
on SoundCloud.
She was like, oh yeah, I'll listen.
And then after that, he sang Thinking About You by Frank Ocean. I was like, oh my goodness, like,
you could actually sing.
You can sing. You should actually do something about this. So I'd like to think.
Like I had a lot of friends like support what I do. I think because I was also just super shy to even like I never could have thought that I would be doing something like this. You know? So I had a lot of people who were just like, yo, dude, please just do this one thing.
Try it out.
Try it out. And if it's too many people telling you to do something, then why not?
It must be a sign. You know what I'm saying?
So I had to see it through. And
And how was your first experience of recording
music?
It
was fun. My brother Tyson taught me how to like record. I didn't know anything about like Fruity Loops or how to set up a mic or anything. I just had the equipment. A friend of mine just gifted it to me and said, dude, figure this shit out.
Just
like
run
I'm
with it.
Giving you this the whole of December to figure it out. So my first song was a song called Mali, I think, with Doshi. Doshi was sending me beats because we met like when I was in 10th grade.
Yeah.
So 2 years before that, he had been sending me beats, and I would like sing over, like I'd record voice notes singing over his beats. I was like, shit, let me record over this one song.
Yeah.
And we recorded that track and I sent it back to him, and he was like, yo, dude, this shit is actually fire.
Yeah.
I'm gonna send you like some more beats and you can like feel it out, see what you like, and find like what your sound is and what you're into. So I spent like that whole summer just recording. I think it was a dope experience, like to learn in a space that didn't have pressure. Like I could just make mistakes and figure it out on my own. I think it plays such an important role to like who I am now, like figuring that shit out so early on and just like going through it step by step and not rushing through it, and like learning everything step by step,
being patient with it,
being patient, and like just
finding yourself.
Yeah. So it was really dope. I had fun. Yeah.
Now, big shout out to Tyson, big shout out to Doshi as well.
Yeah.
Those niggas have been doing the most for a long time now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for real.
I think that's when I first got to tap into your music, because I was with the whole Slump Ryan era, you know what I'm saying? And then I saw that they were fucking with you. So I was like, okay, let me see what's going on here. So that's dope.
Yeah, we came up from like around the same time. And they were the first, Tyson and Doshi were the first people in my life who ever just set me up for like making music.
Yeah.
Because they always thought that, yo, dude, you can sing. And like, there aren't many male vocalists that we know. So even if you would hop on like my verse, you know, and I think even just them allowing me to hop on their tracks and just having that experience with them, because they were also just so well versed in the music at the time, like, while I was still trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
So learning in a space with like people who are overachievers is like really like such a blessing, because I don't know, man, I think they really contributed to who I am also. Yeah
That's dope.
Yeah. And even that the reach that I have and the people that they've exposed me to. Yeah, because you guys were pushing all of this together, you know what I'm saying? So same groups of people, same listeners and all that. Same circles, like we all know each other actually. So it's been great. Music making's been great. Yeah.
And how would you describe your sound in 3 words? Think about this one now. This might stay with you for years to come.
I know. Shit.
Yeah, no pressure.
Avant-garde.
Okay.
Free flowing. Controversial. I think I say some really crazy shit, like literally. Yeah, I think that's how I describe my music. Yeah.
I would have added soulful, you know what I'm saying?
Soulful. Yeah, definitely soulful. I thought there's too much soul in my,
you know what I'm saying?
My voice, too much soul in how I articulate. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, that's interesting. And moving into that space with Tyson and Doshi, you and Tyson have still been collaborating. I know you were on his project, Home.
Yeah.
Song titled Growth. That was really fire.
Yeah.
You know, I think you did justice on that.
Yeah.
And then you also featured him.
Yeah.
Right, on your recent album, which we'll get into, you know what I'm saying? I still wanna backtrack a bit.
Yeah.
So when you came, you know, since you dropped that project till this day, I don't know how to pronounce it, bro. Like, I've been struggling for the longest time, bro. Can you please just help me out with this?
The first one.
Ephemeral. 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 Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think there is a right way to pronounce words, but I think ephemeral is how I pronounce it.
Yeah.
And it's also how like a lot of my friends and we've just become so accustomed to just saying ephemeral. But I've heard like variations of.
Yeah. Like what I just did now. I just gave you crazy variations. Like
I've heard different variations, but like ephemeral.
Now run me through that project, because I do feel like that project really solidified you, you know what I'm saying, as an artist, because now you had something in the catalog that people could say, this is Roho and this is his sound.
Yeah.
So run me through the making of that project and what it was all about.
I made that album in lockdown. And this was like early in lockdown.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of like anxiety around like me making music, because I also hadn't put out music professionally, like on all DSPs. And I was just like a SoundCloud artist for so long that I wanted my first body of work to not only like resemble who I am at the core, but to also just be something that I can always look back to and be like, oh shit, I actually appreciate this body of work and it's got me through so much.
Yeah.
And I know that if it made me feel like that, it would make other people feel like that.
Definitely.
Know? So I really wanted to make something, I think, because at the time there was so much going on that we didn't understand.
Yeah.
With the COVID and just the pandemic, and just I was in a very anxious space making that album, and anxious because I didn't know if it would be good enough to be my first album.
Yeah.
Anxious because I didn't know if it would even move in a environment where we're like can't even go out. Where like, how will people enjoy this? Will I ever get to perform these songs? Yeah. So making that album was like very difficult because I think I felt very hopeless. But the idea of having to put something out just to say I did it was a motivation.
I feel you.
And I think I really just wanted to put something out and be like, oh, you know, I may not have done much, but I did this one thing and I'm really proud of it.
Yeah.
So whoever enjoys it can enjoy it. And I knew I wanted to work with the people I came up with.
Yeah.
So Doshi was like a major part of that album in terms of production. And him and I worked very close producing the tape. And it was difficult because it was virtual. Like we couldn't have studio sessions.
Link up and I feel you.
Yeah. So a lot of arguments happened, a lot of disagreements. But it was all to just create this body of work. And I think he was also very excited for me because it was my first tape.
Yeah.
So making that album was just like a labor of love for myself, for just like the healing that I was also going through at the time, because I think we were all doing a lot of introspection during lockdown and a lot of soul searching.
Definitely.
So you hear elements of me soul searching in the album, and I was learning about like the different center points of your body, your chakras.
Oh, the chakra points.
Yeah. So I learned that the root chakra is like your beginning, your beginning form.
Yeah.
So I wanted my first album to sound like the root chakra.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
So I think Ephemeral was a lot of what my summer was like. But the root chakra musically, because it's my first album and my introduction to like this music shit.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I was really intentional about making it symbolize who I am, so that people never miss a point. If ever anyone needed to reference who I am and figure me out, they will go to that album and be like, oh shit, okay, I can figure out who this guy is. Yeah.
Now that's how you sell a project. You see what I'm saying? Root chakra points and all of that. You feel me? Let's just quickly take it to a quick ad break. We'll be right back.
I got these brands. So Cat Mice Keep, right? FYM, Term Oil, Cladex. You must cut Mice Keep.
No, this is evil. Like.
Yes, sir. And we back from that little ad break, you know what I'm saying? We still in the building with Roho. Big shout out to R Leaf, you know what I'm saying? So before we push further into the conversation, you actually said something really interesting in the break that I wanted to touch on.
Yeah.
So we're having a conversation about, underground artists in SA, different music.
Yeah.
And you said that it's crazy how as an artist you're kind of detached from music.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate a bit on that?
I think it's a weird relationship with music, and it's hard to say I don't enjoy music or I don't feel anything towards music.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't have became a musician.
Yeah.
You know? But just like creating music sometimes just puts you in a vacuum of self. And I don't know if it's like just a me thing or if it's like with everybody, but like I just get consumed in like the world of just like me.
Yeah.
And when you're constantly creating or when you're constantly like trying to refine yourself and your craft, you tend to just shy away from like what's happening outside
around
of
you. And
so I do feel like detached sometimes. Like I hear new music every day, you know, and it's like exciting to me because I'm just like, oh shit, I love being outside and like you were playing something right now.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit,
this is actually pretty dope. Yeah.
So I like discovering music through people. I think it's still exciting to discover music, but like me solo in my like own time, like I've been listening to the same like albums for like the past
4 minutes.
6 years.
The same rotation, the same. That's crazy.
So like the past 6 years. So yeah, it's exciting to like to hear other people's songs, like other people's music, what other people are creating as well. Yeah.
I think it's also dope to be exposed to new music like through other people because you're in different environments now, and then you know what I'm saying, you get introduced to a new artist, and that's dope. It's like a experience in its own.
Yeah, definitely. And even just like an experience of the person.
You know what I'm saying?
Or the environment. Yeah.
I feel you.
Yeah.
And now, Kanye, you also said something really interesting. You asked a very interesting question. We were talking about the project, right? And you were explaining how you linked it to the first root of the chakras.
Yeah.
Right. And you had asked, why didn't you then call it root chakra?
I don't know. I think it had as much as it may have had much affiliation with the root chakra, a lot of the narrative of the album was centered around my experience in the summer of 2018.
Okay.
Which felt like a short-lived movie. So that album essentially reflected that part of my life. But spiritually, it was like the beginning of like me and the beginning of like me as an artist.
Yeah.
Hence the root chakra. So I think Ephemeral, because it really ties to like the content of the music. If you hear what I'm actually saying on the songs, you can tell that, okay, I'm actually telling stories about like summer 2018, which did feel like a short-lived ephemeral movie, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I could have.
You could have been a thing. I feel you.
I could have just said root chakra.
That is you know.
Ephemeral was fire.
It is. That's a really dope. Yeah. That's a really dope name.
Ephemeral was fire. Yeah.
And I like how you're referencing the summer of 2018 as a short movie.
Yeah.
I want to ask you, what movie would you say that summer was? If you could give an example of a movie.
Like if I could tie it to an existing movie.
Friday the 13th.
Yeah, nah. Definitely has some Jason characters.
I got some Jason characters in there.
I know what you did last summer.
Yeah, I'd like to think maybe like a Moonlight. Yeah.
That is a
Moonlight.
That's interesting.
Moonlight it actually felt like Insecure. Season 3
Ooh,
yeah.
Damn.
Insecure season 3.
Yeah.
When Nathan comes in.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was summer 2018.
Yeah.
Yeah, season 3 Insecure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now we can move into the most recent project, right? Which is titled Vesper, right? So, I also wanted to let you guys know that please say the name. Ephemeral. It's killing me.
Ephemeral.
Ephemeral, right?
Yeah.
That was number 13 on R&B and soul that's really huge. You know what I'm saying? Number 13 of the albums on that, which is really crazy. And I also know that Vesper was also doing Insane, right? So you dropped that in around July last year.
Mm-hmm.
And in August, you gave us an update of the streams. And that was sitting at like 61,000 streams.
Mm-hmm.
Now, just in that short span of time, that's really crazy, you know?
Yeah.
So run me through the whole creative process of putting Vesper together.
Yeah.
Also, another interesting name. Please break that down for me as well. Yeah.
Vesper was like I have fun making Vesper, I won't lie. I think that was me sort of like cozying my way into like making music and just like experimenting with music, and my need to just like express myself fully.
Yeah.
I didn't want to hold back. And I think I spent 2 or 3 years around people who weren't holding back. And I was around, I was influenced by so many people around me.
Yeah.
And inspired by so many people around me that it really created like a hunger to like want to be great at what I do first.
Yeah.
And I knew I wanted to make an album that was completely different from my first album. Just for versatility's sake, you know, just to say that, you know, I can actually have different phases as an artist, and I can actually grow from being this kind of person to being like the person that I currently am. And I feel like I was creating myself from a place of like self-awareness, and I wanted to be very honest. I wanted to write a very honest album. And I also wanted to just like have an excuse to actually make a pop album, because I grew up looking at a lot of pop stars. And I think I spent a lot of time studying like a lot of pop stars, like your Princes, your Michael Jacksons, your Whitney Houstons, and I became so obsessed with like pop culture that I actually wanted to make an album that felt like a moment in time of like pop culture, and just to experiment. I think Vesper was like an experimental album even for myself. I worked very closely with Earl. He's a producer. He produced a majority of the album. So I worked very closely with him in terms of like song selections and who we wanted to like feature on songs and just like actually building the album from scratch. And again, I was put in a situation of like having to work with a producer who was like really far. So him and I couldn't really have studio sessions. It wasn't an intimate like creative process for me. It was a very isolated creative process for me, because also I made this album when I was in a very like dark place, and a lot of the darkness comes out of like the content and the context of the album. Like lyrically, what I say in the album reflects so much of the place that I was at the time. And I wanted to be honest. I just really wanted to be honest, and I wanted to create a world that felt like the inverse of the root chakra. And which is a second pressure point, which is like your sacral chakra. So I wanted to create an album that felt like your sacral chakra, which is like your creative energy, your feminine energy. And I really wanted to tap into the polarities of who I was as Roho, the spirit, and just not being afraid to go into the dark side of music, and not being afraid to tap into the dark side of like the creative world. And just confronting your shadow self. And Vesper is exactly that. Vesper is like me in the shadow. And Vesper is me not holding back on anything. It's me confronting my shadow self and it's also me recovering from that. I feel like a lot of the times people shy away from sharing bad experiences, especially through their craft.
Yeah, they only show you all the nice parts.
So I really wanted to make an album that reflected a really terrible time.
Yeah.
And as much as sonically it may sound good, when you listen to what I'm saying, it's like, oh shit, like there's some healing going on. There's some like breakthroughs happening in this album. And yeah, I think the creation of Vesper happened through having gone through like a very dark time.
Yeah, I think it is crazy how you might listen to a project, right, and you catching a vibe, but the artist is telling you some real shit, you know, like if you just listen. You understand?
But I'm cryptic like that. And I think even just playing with the dark elements of like just hiding things in plain sight, there's a lot of like hidden things in Vesper if you like just vibing, because some tunes are vibey, you know what I'm saying? But like if you listen to what I'm saying in the context of like it coming from a dark place, it's very cryptic, and I enjoy making music that evolves as you listen. And I think Vesper is like an evolving album as you listen.
So I get the feeling that from the previous project you kind of were in a comfortable space where you allowed yourself to experiment and really go out there, which is pretty dope. I think it's important for artists to reach that phase where, you know what I'm saying, I know myself, I know my sound, and now I can fully explore.
And I can explore through the root of who I am. The core of who I am. And I think it also just helps you it like helps with the originality as an artist to know who you are. You know, I feel like artists who know who they are never have a hard time creating, because you're constantly creating from you are your own source. So you're creating from yourself. So I think it's important for me to create like that.
And are you working on something new? What can the people expect? Like
I'm a visual person, like I said, and I think I want to grow the world of Vesper visually, because I feel like I've given it enough time to sit like in sound form and audio form, and have explained, I think, way too many times like what the song is, what the songs are, and what the vibe is. And I think I just want to create like visuals for the album, and I've been like speaking to some of my friends who make visuals about like creating some really dope visuals. I feel like I want to make a movie out of this experience in this album, like just like to bring you fully into the world of Vesper. I feel like I could grow it a bit.
I feel you, because you first listened to it and went into that
have
world.
to digest it in other forms. So I'm really like trying to cook up some fire visuals, and also putting on performances. I've actually been conceptualizing like a tour, just like a solo tour show, just do a bunch of shows in different cities. And I think I have a performance concept of what Vesper is and the world of Vesper, and I think I want to just like express myself through my performance art. And I've just been like speaking with like some of my friends about like organizing a show and putting on like a performance piece for the album. I think that would be fire. And maybe some new music. I'm definitely in studio, and I've been definitely cooking some songs, so maybe some like new music later on in the year.
But for now, it's conceptualizing the whole tour.
I'm just still very busy trying to put on a show, and just like trying to bring you into the visual world of Vesper. And just like patience. It takes time, and it takes a lot of patience to put like things together, especially because I wanted to be perfect. And it's my first time ever putting out like visuals, you know? So I really wanted to look good. I wanted to feel good. I wanted to just be perfect. And
an overall experience.
Yeah, just like a whole experience. How I envisioned the album was a full experience that you can just like really digest fully. Yeah, not just sonically, but like something that you can see, something that you can go to and see live. And
Okay.
Yeah.
And then one thing I do want to know is you actually have quite a few performances, you know, that you've been posting on the socials and all that. But you say that you've been a shy person. So I want to know that being on stage and, you know, like performing the music, how does that feel? Are you comfortable with it now? Is it cool or?
Yeah, I think I've met too many people who have given me advice on how to conduct myself as an artist.
Yeah.
And it almost feels like that was like my college. You know, like that was my varsity meeting, like a bunch of people who just gave me advice and said, yo, you know, you need to, obviously, if you're like shy and timid, you need to have like a persona that you can switch on and like become. Because if this is what you want, then you need to practice what you want. So I think a lot of the performances that I've been doing, as you can see, I think like even from the timeline of like what I've been posting, you can gradually see me get better at what I do. And I think it takes practice. It takes like putting yourself out there and, you know, performing for people and putting on a performance and rehearsing and practicing and all of this shit. Like I really want to be good at what I do. I really want to be excellent as a performer. And I think for me, it's something that I've had to learn how to like master. Like I know how to perform. And that's not to say I'm not anxious when I'm on the stage, but I know how to work with my anxiety. Like I know how to make it work for me. And I think it's just like, it's all like trial and error and just like mastering the skill of performance. But I think I'm definitely getting better.
I think you're in it now because you have a certain aura when you're on stage, you know, you're controlling it and it shows.
I'm definitely like learning how to just like control the energy and work with it. And it's fun. I think I can't wait to see me in like my final form.
I feel you.
I can't wait. But it's exciting. I have fun performing.
I think, you know, I'm good. I got what I needed to get, you know. Do you have any final words for the viewers out there?
Just a quick thank you to all my supporters. Like, I know it's hard supporting like a reclusive nigga. Like I'm always out the loop, so
it be like that sometimes. It be like that.
But like I'm just happy. Like I'm happy I still have the people who support me, people who still believe in me. And I'm really nothing without like my people. And they know who they are. And I appreciate everyone who's like been supporting me, and thank you guys for having me.
Thank you for showing up, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Appreciate for my Kazi.
Thank you for having me.
Any last words, Kazi? You got something to say to the people?
Pop your shit.
Pop your shit. This your time now.
No, just thank you for having me as well. And being here is like emotional support. But yeah, it's cool. I love the setup.
Thank you so much, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you guys so much for coming. This was lovely, you know.